and welcome to Wrestling Backlash. Iyo Sky is WWE's next big thing. As the WWE scope out new stars to spearhead the women's wrestling division into the future, a new star is ascending, and she's the genius of the sky, Iyo Sky. Also known as Io Shirai, is no doubt a huge asset to the WWE, but she can go even further. She has exceptional in-ring abilities, a natural connection with the crowd, and her technical mastery, athleticism, and captivating storytelling set her apart from many others in the division. Right now, there's clearly already a lot of faith in her as the current WWE Women's Champion, but how big of a star can she be? From learning her craft wrestling in Japan and Mexico to a dominant title reign of 300 days in NXT, and setting the main roster alight. Stick around as we dive into exactly why Iyo Sky can be a huge star in the WWE for years to come. Let's go back a few years to where Iyo's wrestling story began in 2007. She was just 16 years old, teaming up with her older sister, Io Shirai. She worked as a part-time wrestler during her early years, as she was still in high school and started competing as a full-time performer alongside her sister after graduating, making her in-ring debut in March of 2007. She continued to perform in the independent circuit alongside her sister and competed in various freelance shows for promotions like the Japanese Women Pro Wrestling Project, Pro Wrestling Wave, Sendai Girls Pro Wrestling, and Ibuki. She teamed up with her sister, Io Shirai, and was part of the Team Makahin stable, which comprised wrestlers trained by Tomohiko Hashimoto. She was also part of the Triple Tails faction alongside her sister, and a superstar you might know by Kana, also known as Asuka. Sky was working with some of the best talent in the world, with Japan as a hotspot for many of the greatest talent in women's wrestling worldwide, especially in 2010. Japan was filled with the best of the best, while women's wrestling in America wasn't given nearly as much of a chance and respect as it is today. Iyo, whose real name is Masami Odate, noted that her professional wrestling persona is inspired by Rey Mysterio, and soon she broadened her wrestling horizons as she traveled to Mexico in 2010 and trained in a local wrestling school to improve her skills. She then started working under the name Biba Kasai and made her debut for the International Wrestling Revolution Group in October 2010. She made her debut for Lucha Libre AAA Worldwide in October 2010 under the name Oyuki. Following her final AAA Worldwide appearance, she returned to Mexico in May of 2011 and started working under the iconic banner of Io Shirai. Shirai debuted for World Wonder Ring Stardom in August 2011 and made it her home promotion, where she worked until mid-2018. During her time in the company, she went on to become a 6-time Artist of Stardom champion, a 2-time Wonder of Stardom and World of Stardom champion. She also held the Goddesses of Stardom championship with Mayu Iwatani and is a 1-time SWA Undisputed World Women's Champion and High Speed Champion. There is no doubt her experience in Japan and Mexico, two of the most iconic and unique styles in pro wrestling worldwide, was a perfect molding into the superstar we see today, and why she has such a technical advantage over many who have only really worked one style. By this point, Shirai's reputation as a phenomenal talent was clear, and in 2016, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter referred to Iyo and her fellow Japanese wrestlers, Kairi Hojo and Mayu Iwatani, as 3 of the best wrestlers in the world. She wrestled her final match for the promotion in June of 2018 before making her way to the WWE. After WWE offered Iyo a contract in October 2016, she participated in a tryout at the Performance Center in March of 2017. She accepted WWE's offer in May of 2017, but things almost ended there. She didn't make her debut as WWE rescinded the offer after she sustained a neck injury and after learning about a heart condition she'd had. However, she would sign with WWE in June of 2018 and made her debut as a contestant in the second Mae Young Classic tournament. She defeated Zia Brookside, Zeuxis, and Deonna Purrazzo in the initial rounds before defeating Rhea Ripley in the semi-final, but lost to Toni Storm in the final at the 2018 Evolution pay-per-view. Shirai had already built a reputation for her talents and came into NXT during the famed Black and Gold era, where smart crowds heavily appreciated the best that the independent scene worldwide had to offer. So when she made her debut in NXT, it was seen as a big deal. Shirai made her official NXT debut at the 2018 NXT TakeOver War Games event, where she and Dakota Kai saved Kairi Sane from Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir during Sane's NXT Women's title match against Shayna Baszler. Shirai formed a tag team with Kairi Sane and continued to appear together until the latter got called up to the main roster. Following that, she feuded with Shayna Baszler over the NXT Women's title, but couldn't capture the title. Though the pair did put on some classic matches and an intriguing build, the storyline led to her turning heel and feuding with Candice LeRae, which culminated at NXT TakeOver Toronto in August of 2019, where she defeated LeRae by submission. Following a return from injury in March of 2020, Shirai entered the NXT Women's title picture by winning a #1 contenders ladder match to get the opportunity to face Charlotte Flair for the title. However, her title match ended in a disqualification after Flair attacked her with a kendo stick. The feud built with Rhea Ripley also entering the mix, leading to a match between the three at the NXT TakeOver In Your House event in June of 2020. Shirai defeated Flair and Ripley at the event to capture the NXT Women's title, and so began the era of Io Shirai dominance in NXT. Shirai picked up a high-profile victory over Sasha Banks and successfully defended the NXT Women's title against the likes of Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Candice LeRae, Rhea Ripley, Mercedes Martinez, and Toni Storm, holding the title in a phenomenal reign of 304 days that eventually ended to Raquel Gonzalez. After losing the NXT Women's Championship, Shirai formed a tag team with Zoe Stark, and the two superstars became the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, holding the titles for 111 days before dropping them. 2022 saw Shirai win the Women's 2022 Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament alongside Kaylee Ray, before an NXT Women's title Fatal 4-Way match at Stand and Deliver, marked by her final appearance for NXT as she sustained an injury. While many speculated Shirai was leaving WWE with the rise of AEW and her contract was set to expire, the reality was that the main roster was calling. Iyo Shirai became Iyo Sky, as she made her surprise main roster debut alongside Dakota Kai at the 2022 SummerSlam pay-per-view, where they aligned with Bayley to form Damage Control. Later that year, Sky and Dakota became WWE Women's Tag Team Champions on 2 separate occasions, ranging from September to February, and the latter leading to a massive WrestleMania 39 6-woman tag match between Damage Control and Lita, Trish Stratus, and Becky Lynch, which Damage Control would lose. With Bayley the leader of the group, and many wondering if Sky would get the opportunity to shine the way she did in NXT, it's safe to say it's been a fantastic run for her. Though injuries have impacted the group, 2023 has been a fantastic year for the genius of the Sky, and showcased her limitless potential. Though she lost a women's title match to Bianca Belair at Backlash, she received an amazing ovation and a huge amount of support during the match, and it was clear that the Puerto Rican crowd felt that it was Sky's moment to be champion, despite Belair's incredible reign at the time. Sky went on to win the Money in the Bank ladder match and was once again definitely the people's favorite in the O2 Arena in London, England, marking a huge deal of faith in her within the company. Just a month later, and 1 year on from her main roster debut at SummerSlam, Sky cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase on Bianca Belair, who just defeated Charlotte and Asuka to regain the title herself, to become the WWE Women's Champion for the first time ever. Sky had a great start to her reign, having retained her title against Asuka and Flair in a triple threat match at Fastlane. And if booked right, there's potential for Sky to not only establish herself as a dominant and formidable figure in the division right now, but to become one of the greatest women's wrestlers the main roster has ever seen. Ability-wise, she's there, but the question is, will she be given the long-term backing as a solo star to do so? We've seen many huge stars from NXT have excellent runs under the guidance of Triple H, and all too often move into the main roster and be misunderstood, underutilized, or just not quite work. But that was largely under the creative process of an aging and mostly out-of-touch Vince McMahon. After a great year establishing herself to the main roster crowd with Damage Control, and recent reports that Endeavor have put full faith in Triple H to run weekly creative uninterrupted going forward, the stage seems better set than ever for Iyo Sky to show why she's one of the very best the WWE has to offer. Iyo Sky is undoubtedly one of the most talented performers in the WWE. Her performances constantly leave fans impressed, and she has remarkable athleticism and technical prowess that allow her to execute high-flying maneuvers with a precision and grace that very few can match. Though many question whether she can be the solo star outside of Damage Control with limited English potentially impacting her promo ability, she has undeniable charisma and a magnetic personality that still manages to shine through. And looking at the success of Asuka and other stars in similar positions, at 33, there's no reason why Sky can't go on to be a huge star for the WWE for years to come.